dog and a partridge in a pear tree.
It's the second day of Christmas, and what am I reviewing today? Well, it's a definite improvement and probably a bit of a major outlier at the moment, because the next couple of things I'm going to review, like the next three, I would say, 2 or 3 I should say, are very mixed in quality. Ooh, there are some I'm not looking forward to, but well, one in particular. Never mind. But anyway, Arthur Christmas. Now, this is a film I have known about a long time. Like, essentially, I've known about this since it came out. But like many people, I was turned off by the film just because of its CG animation. I mean, not to say it's not a surprise to see Aardman do CG animation, but it's very sparsely, and the only time they did it beforehand was with Flushed Away, which I think one of the reasons why they did it was because, okay, first off, they were using water at the time, and they didn't really know how they can handle water with, their characters, their clay animation. But also because one of their studios had burned down during the release of Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were Rabbit. So yeah, even then it didn't look anything like the traditional Aardman style. But those who watch it often say it's one of the best films they've seen, and one of the best Christmas films they've ever seen. Even probably up there with Nightmare Before Christmas. And I saw it only just this year, and yep, I totally agree. This is a Christmas classic, by far, and it's really good. So the premise is that in this sort of film, Santa Claus isn't exactly a person, but a title passed down through generations of this one family line. And the current Santa, Malcolm, is in his 73rd year and is expected to pass his title on to his oldest son, Steve. But Malcolm hangs on to it for another year, much to Steve's chagrin. His youngest son, Arthur, is more a klutz and mostly stays out of everyone's way at his family's assistance by, sorting mail, the letters kids write to Santa. But one night, Arthur and his family and a bunch of the elves discover one present has accidentally been left behind and not given to the respective child. Arthur recognizes it as the present that was requested by this little girl named Gwen, who he personally wrote a reply for with the letters. So with the help of his grandfather, actually named Grand Santa, the two travel in the old Santa sleigh, in order to deliver Gwen's present. All while, actually going through quite a number of stumbles on the way. They're joined by an additional elf who takes her gift wrapping job very seriously. She's probably the funniest character in the film. And all the while, Steve and Malcolm are trying to work out their own solution with this little debacle. So what I like about this is not just the story, but also what I think also helps is the voice acting. I mean, the voice actors in this are all great. You've got James McAvoy, Jim Broadbent, Hugh Laurie, some great talent, and I was even surprised the lady who plays Mrs. Claus is the lady who plays Dolores Umbridge in the Harry Potter films. Oh my gosh, she's incredible. She's great in this, and so sweet and kind, and the most selfless character in this whole film, along with Bryony, the gift wrapping elf. Jeez, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I can't always judge, people, but Dolores Umbridge is one of the most despicable characters I've ever seen in film. But anyway, that's another story if I ever get to the Harry Potter films. But so the voice acting is great, the story is great. Now the animation. This is some of the most fast-paced, energetic animation that's ever come out in cinema. I mean, just watch the opening where where Malcolm and the elves are delivering presents, and the state of efficiency and speed and timing and the creativity, it's just unbelievable. You don't know what you will not believe when you first see it. You have to, in fact, you have to watch it multiple times just to understand every single detail of it. It's unbelievable. Aardman and Sony Pictures Animation did an incredible job just in this one scene. This is one of the greatest bits of animation in history. Just everything, and the scene where Steve has to organize the elves to save Malcolm after he inadvertently sets off one of the toys in the opening is incredible. How well they do that. That is just so great. Even some of the other stuff is great. I mean, the flying scenes in the old sleigh with Grand Santa and Arthur and Bryony are beautiful, and if again really stylized, and they would honestly look. I reckon this would have looked great when it was released in 3D. You know, it's just I can totally see it. You know. And what I also like is the character arcs and the generation aspect of the film. Steve is very much has pretty much revolutionized the production of Christmas and treats it more like a business with the use of more technology to move everything forward and keep it up to date. And how he wants to take over as Santa, even though he's more a business side and doesn't really know how to handle kids. On the other hand, Grand Santa is more the traditional route and prefers things to be done the old-fashioned way. And even then, his old way does have its flaws, as seen with how he handles flying around his old sleigh, which I forget the name actually. I have to double check on that. In the middle of that is Malcolm, who loves his job too much and honestly doesn't know what he'd be without his job. So he's constantly hanging on to it, even though he should pass it on. And he feels like he should be given more respect, when in reality he doesn't feel like he should be earning any respect. It's quite impressive. In fact, Grand Santa is probably the most sane out of the three centers of conflict between Grand Santa, Malcolm, and Steve. He too has his own faults and all that, and how he kind of is selfish in his own way as well. And Steve is also selfish in his own right, but you understand each different side. In the middle of that, and called the middle, is Arthur, who doesn't care how things happen. He just wants it done right. He wants everyone's Christmas to be right. That's why he goes out of the way to deliver the present, no matter the cost. And and even then, he is still flawed too, as he's a klutz. He screws up a lot, and he's paranoid of everything. It's incredible to think how well they handle it. And there's actually no real villain. Even though Steve sort of seems like he would be the villain, the film isn't actually a villain, and the resolution is heartwarming. As Malcolm realizes he can no longer do things, and acknowledges Steve and Arthur as better people, and Steve acknowledges that he wouldn't make a good Santa because he's not good with kids and all that, and doesn't know what things are like. And even Grand Santa is willing to sacrifice his old traditions in order to get things after he realizes the true meaning of delivering gifts. Bryony, on the other hand, doesn't go through much of a character arc, but in the end she's just too funny. You don't really need anything with her. As I said, I like how the whole Santa Claus title works in this. It's really creative in that. I love, and I think in the ending, as I said before, it's probably one of my favorite endings in any Christmas film I've ever seen. I'm only saying film because you're gonna have to get a heartwarming aspect to it, but yeah, this is the most heartwarming Christmas ending I've seen in a while. I mean, it's probably right up there. In fact, probably you really do feel a lot from it. If there is one issue, is that along with getting used to the character designs, It's probably that there is an alien invasion subplot, because the first house Arthur and Grandson try to deliver the gift to, the owner comes out and mistakenly thinks they're aliens, so he alerts the government and they go up chasing after Arthur and Grand Santa. Yeah, that's probably the weakest aspect in it. You don't really need it. But really, that's all I can really say. Arthur Christmas is fantastic. And I regret not having watched it earlier. It is a fantastic movie. And I'm still surprised that it's still pretty underrated. I mean, this film should have been nominated for an Oscar, but it wasn't. I mean, why was this not nominated for an Oscar when Rango was and won? But to be fair, I still think Kung Fu Panda 2 should have won that year's Best Animated Feature Oscar. But yeah, this is fantastic. This is a great Christmas special. Watch it if you haven't. Yes, the character designs are a little bit weird, but you will be won away by everything else. Thumbs up, a 9 out of 10 hat stars from me. Fantastic special. Watch it if you haven't already. It is a blast. A fantastic movie. I should always expect that with Aardman, but they always find a way to, surprise me, even when I know they're going to be good. Yeah. So, what's next? Well, I should mention, I will be doing a Christmas special very similar to this, in a certain respect, more say with the opening, which we'll get to that. Actually, now I think about it, maybe that might be the reason why I didn't want to watch this till much later, till this year. But going into the next one, this is one I haven't seen in a long time. Back then I thought it was okay, but now, well, I mean, I like Michael Keaton. He's a great actor, but okay, I think you can guess what I'm going to do. And I think you can guess with a running theme of these next couple of videos, I will admit. But in the meantime, this is Hazard from Hazard Reviews out. And I shall see you for a Christmas special with a snowman. Ciao!